I don't think people are afraid of failure. I really think people are afraid of meeting the version of themselves that exists without fear. And the reason I say that is because once you see who you could have been, you have to grieve everything else. So, this right here is beyond. I'm BRI Willis. Y'all can call me Bree though. Alright, let's get into these questions, y'all. So, the first question, if I can get this freaking glove on. Alright, let's get into it. I'm gonna go ahead and warm up and everything. And stretch. Alright, so the first question is, who introduced you to fear before you ever introduce yourself to freedom? So for me, I feel like who introduced me to fear was, I don't even want to say people and look outside of myself, but what I do want to say is, because I feel like it's so easy to point the finger at people like, oh yeah, my surroundings, stuff like that. And yes, that plays a portion of it, but protection, like, introduced me to fear. And the reason I say that is because when you're living life, right, and you're just like, dang, like, I wanna live and not be so bound by the things around me or the things that are happening around me. It's so easy to just be like, oh yeah, like, it's this surrounding that's holding me and hindering me back, when really it's the protection that you've actually had to have, or you felt like you had to have in order for you to actually blend or mask yourself in certain environments to fit in order for you to conform and not actually being free. And you mistaken freedom. You've mistaken freedom with actually fear. And you've had to, in a sense, like, manipulate a mass together in order for you to belong or to become this version of you that's accepted, the version of you that's not getting kicked out the house because you're actually speaking your mind, the version of you that's actually saying what you want to say because it doesn't bring too much attention to you. But what happens when you actually speak your mind? What happens when you actually say what needs to be said, but most people won't, because it interrupts the collective of rooms that decided to actually not say anything as a collective? What happens? Ooh, that was bad, but it was on point. Ooh, that almost hit the pin. But no, for real though, what happens? What happens when you want to be more of yourself, but you're more so in alignment with being this version of you that's upheld with applause and praise from other people? It's hard to be yourself in environments and rooms and spaces that don't allow you to be all of yourself. Who do you become? You become a version of yourself that is unrecognizable because you've been somebody else for so long. That's who you become. So the next question. How many years have you spent trying to be accepted instead of becoming? How many years have you spent trying to be accepted instead of becoming? I feel like I spent my whole life trying to be accepted. And not from a way of like, oh, I need to feel like this and the third, but it's like, as a kid, like you yearn for, in a sense, like most people yearn for acceptance in some way. And it might mask itself different. It might not look the same, but most people just want to be accepted. And I feel like I spent my whole life trying to, in a sense, look for something. But really, when you look outside of yourself, you look and yearn for acceptance. But when you look within, you find becoming. You find the version of you that you actually want to become without all of the extra stuff, without the fears, but with freedom as the forefront. And I feel like now, like, I'm just at a point where I'm looking more within myself for the answer instead of actually looking outside of myself and trying to feel more acceptance. And yes, it's a journey because, mind you, those are different traits that you learn as a kid, is to look outside of yourself and not to look within. And so I feel like it's just about going back to the beginning and actually becoming who you're actually meant to be without the praise and applause of everybody else, but actually you being in alignment with your higher version of yourself in order to become who you always knew that you were destined to be. So next question, what would your inner child think if they met the adult fear created? What would my inner child think if they met the adult fear that I created? I feel like they would just look and be like, who are you? You know that meme, right?
Wait a minute. Who are you?
You're like, who are you? Like, yeah. But I feel like my inner child would be like, who the fuck are you? Like, who is you and why is you around me? Because this ain't who you used to be. Like, I used to be, from what I, remember and from what I've heard I said to folks, I used to be very, like, blunt and honest about things. And not trying to fit into a box and not trying to care about what everybody wants me to say or wants me to do, but actually saying the uncomfortable thing. And yes, it might have come off and hurt people's feelings, but there's a point in which, like, sometimes feelings are gonna get hurt when you tell them the truth. And that's okay, because it's just the way you do it that I feel like needs to be worked on in order to receive the things that you need to. Sorry, y'all. Somebody coming by my car and I'm like, what the heck? So yeah, I feel like it's really about how you do it. And that really matters a lot. Well, maybe that's what I say now, but who knows? So, next question is, what version of yourself have you been mourning without realizing they're still alive? What version of yourself have you been mourning without realizing that that version of you is still alive? I feel like I've been mourning the versions of me that were buried beneath what everybody else wanted from me or what was feasible to I wouldn't even say a box or a limit that people thought. Like most people like, oh, you can't do this and that and the third. You can't do too much. But I feel like I had to mourn those versions of me that felt, that never really got a chance to become. Like, there's a version of me that is an artist. There's a version of me that was wanting to become an artist. There's a version of me that was yearning to become a creative to a deeper way. There's a version of me that wants to become like a tour player, right? There's a version of me that wants to become all of these different things in which, like, I'm able to be, but I buried because either of the opinions of other people, or whether that be because of all of the circumstances that happened that made me feel like in that moment it wasn't feasible for me. But if I just kept pushing, it would have worked out. There's a version that is looking to become in all facets. And with that, I can choose to give in to what looks like right in front of me is not working out for me right now in order to become that version of me that I really want, and stop listening to the opinions of other people and stop listening to like everything else outside of me and actually focus on what I actually want within me. But I think it's really about not literally burying yourself in that hole based off of what other people want, because it makes you miserable. Like, if you just keep pursuing what everybody else wants for you and you don't actually align yourself with the beliefs that you want for yourself, and that means getting outside of your comfortability of what you already know and actually stepping into the uncomfortable situations, the uncomfortable conversations that maybe you don't know right now. And that's okay, because you're becoming another version of yourself. You're becoming somebody that was different than somebody else that you might have been to please people. For example, I grew up in the church, Southern Baptist at that. And with that being said, we gotta go hit that one yet. With that being said, that version of me was present because, in a sense, like I had to, right? I didn't have a choice on where I was going in this and the third, but now I have the choice on either I can expand my belief system, either I can start from the ground up. It's whatever I want to do. Instead of actually focusing on what the beliefs that everybody else wants for me. I even went to a Christian school my whole life, y'all. Oh, that's on the money. But yeah, like, you have a choice on what you want to believe, what you want to choose to do. And either you become a whole different person based off of what you want to see for yourself, or you can become a version of you that is an ass kisser and pleases everybody else. It's up to you. Because, yes, I feel like a part of me was living life to just get by, because I know my words are powerful. I know if I say certain things, it makes people cry. And even though it's true, it's just like some things are just better left said and seen instead of actually not being revealed. And I think I'm still having to settle with the fact that I'm not over here trying to please everybody else anymore. My words are powerful and they're very potent. And if I need to say what I need to say, I'm going to say it. But because I know that, I'm not the same person as I was as a kid who just spew the potent words out and hurt folks' feelings. But instead, I use those things and I actually am methodical on either I say them or am I going to be wise and not say them. I have the choice now on what I decide to do. So, next thing. So we get into the quote section, you know what I'm saying? So these are some quotes that either I found or I just kind of flow with, and they sauce, they gas. So yeah. So the greatest tragedy isn't dying, it's never meeting yourself. The greatest tragedy isn't dying. It's actually not meeting your true self. And the reason I say that is because you can live your... I'm okay. Thank you though. But yeah, I'm about to go too. Huh? I'm good. Thank you though. But the reason I say that is because, like, so many times we can try to live life. Sometimes we can get in this cycle of thinking like death is the end, but really what happens when you start to become? It becomes the beginning. And when it comes to becoming, so many people still lie in the grave, and the grave is filled with all of these people that never actually tapped into their full and true identity in themselves within. But instead they decided, I'm gonna live a life for somebody else. I'm gonna do what everybody else told me to do my whole life. And when they have the choice and the chance to change, they don't, because it's become comfortable to them. But what happens when you become? What happens when you decide to go on a journey within yourself and actually become all in which you might have dreamed about as a kid? Like, I dreamed about this moment, not the golf, right? But I dreamed of just being me and being free and trying to actually, like, align myself with who I want to become, whoever that is. And I think that was on the money, but but I think, like, one thing, and I'm not hitting like full shots because my shoulder is freaking hurting, right? But it's not hurting right now. But yeah, like, what happens when you actually become that version of you that isn't what everybody else wants for you, but it's actually in alignment to what you actually need to do for yourself? And I feel like that can be kind of hard to become this version of you that is different and set apart, because people are comfortable with the watered down version of you because it soothes their insecurities. And I think the more that you become and you step out of that box of what you've been being, that's when all of the different things and what seems like challenges start to present themselves. But it's not really that. I think it's just more so the fact of you're just actually stepping to alignment to who you are actually trying to be. Fear doesn't always stop your life. Sometimes it simply edits it. So many times, like, we think like, oh, like, all of these different things stop your life, but really what it does, it just puts your life in a box, or it puts yourself in like this edit-based reality that you live because it's comfortable. Instead of letting fear, you think it's pausing your whole life, because I did the same thing. I thought fear was putting all of these limits to a point where it just kept me shackled like, and just down on the ground. Like, all of these shackles, like 300 pounds, and I'm just sitting on the ground, just stuck. But really, it doesn't keep you bound. It just keeps you editing the version of yourself that you actually are continuing to be in order to please the environment that you're around, in order for you to stay in a sense of surviving and not actually thriving and being all in which you're able and capable of being. Outside of the boxes, outside of the edits. But what happens when you actually take all them edits out and you just let it rip raw? Pause. But what happens? What happens when you just like, all right, bet. Oh, I like how that joint coming back. I hope y'all see these ball flights and you see how close it is to the pin. But, yeah. Fear teaches performance. Love teaches presence. Fear teaches performance. Love teaches presence. Fear teaches performance. Love teaches presence. So, when it comes to fear, right? Fear puts all of these limitations and edits on you to a point where you're this version of yourself that fits into the environments that you're around. I'm wearing a freaking cut-up hoodie that I made. And these 5 pants. You know how many people was looking at me at the golf course today? I don't give a fuck. Because I'm not wearing a collar shirt. I'm not doing that, right? That's just, if I wear a collar shirt, it better be fire, right? It better be fire. Either I created it or somebody who's actually a good designer created it, right? But at one point I used to fear stepping into places wearing things like this. I designed this design. I don't even want to say what material I use for it, but I designed this thing and I wore it to an event that I had, like, with all of these prominent people in this event, and we're supposed to teach and all of that at the event. Ended up just playing, right? So with that event, I was stressing. You could ask, like, my sis for real. I was stressing about this hoodie. Actually, I was wondering why I was supposed to wear this joint, but I was like, oh my gosh, like, this isn't conforming in a sense to the traditions of golf, right? And I was just like, oh my gosh, like, I'm supposed to be teaching and I'm about to be teaching in this. I don't really know if I want to do that. But what that taught me was the fear of being myself, wanted to create a limit or an edit on who I am and who I am becoming, to a point where I'm trying to perform extra in other areas that I'm not even having a good and free time of playing golf the way that I need to play, the way that I want to play, in order to get the best outcome in the freedom, in the body and vessel in which I am called to present into the world. But how am I going to do that if I'm putting all these extra performances on me? It's almost like you stressing yourself out. You stressing yourself out over the wrong shit. You over here stressing out like, oh, do I look good? Am I fitting in? To a point where you have this mask on and you can't even see who you're actually supposed to be. You can't even see the skills that you actually have within you because you're so focused on the wrong performance. But what happens when you actually focus on who you're supposed to be? Everything else is more free. You don't give a fuck about what everybody else says. You are actually just more so in alignment of who you're becoming. In order for you to take your eyes off of the other things and actually focus within yourself and actually focus on what actually matters, which is being free, which is not a number dictating your life or a number dictating things, but actually, dang, I showed up free to this joint. And that becomes the more performance that you're focusing on. It's not even a performance, but you're actually focusing on progression and purpose now. And those other things don't matter because you know that everything else is going to fall into place when you decide to be in alignment with who you are destined to be. That's a word right there. And I'm going to hit this joint so good just because. You become more confident. It might seem cocky because that's what you've been around. It's people that associate confidence, like, no, cockiness with confidence and vice versa. However I'm supposed to say it, you know what I mean, right? People associate you being confident because you actually go within yourself for that. And that becomes something that brings out insecurities and flaws, and people speak from that place because they're not able to tap into that for yourself. So my advice to you is just continue to be in alignment with who you're supposed to be, and everything else is going to fall into place. Yes, people might call you cocky when you're actually being the version of yourself that you're supposed to be. Shit, wear your hair backwards. If that's something that you want to do it. It might not be dressing like drippy like me, right? It might not be that, but it might just be that you just need to be more of yourself. Just do one thing in order to be more so of yourself, and not being this version of yourself that everybody has rules and speculations on and limits on for who you need to be and how you need to step into a certain environment and how you need to do certain things. But really, if you think about it, so many times people are like, oh, well, I'm doing this and that. When really, it's not even you. It's not even you anymore. And so many times we can live a life that's so focused on what everybody else wants for us that we lose ourselves in the process. Again, what happens when you stop editing and start becoming? What happens when you start editing and you start becoming? Not based off of your environment. Oh, that was about to hit the... Not based off of your environment, but actually based off of who you want to become. Who do you want to be? How do you want to step into the atmosphere that you go into? The environments that you are a part of. Is it as yourself? Or just trying to step into finding yourself again? Or is it going with a mask on all the time? Most people aren't becoming a version of them that is themselves. They're becoming a version of them that keeps them safe. And it's sad because I used to do it all the time. And I feel like now I'm just at a point where it's like, yo, fuck that shit. I'm gonna be me. And I'm gonna do me. And the version of you that is safe is the version of you that's hid. The version of you that's safe and hidden is the version of you that stays in alignment to not getting eyes on you. And there's a fear of being seen present. There's a fear of actually, dang, people are going to look at me if I dress like this. People are going to look at me and see me if I actually come and step into the version of myself that I am supposed to become. People are going to look at me. And that's okay. It's okay to be seen. I've had a fear of being seen for so long, and there's so many invisibility wounds, right? Or visibility wounds, I'm sorry, not invisibility. There's so many visibility wounds that are present. And in that presence, you can either choose, like in the presence of that, love is there. Peace is there. When you decide to step into the version of yourself that you want to become for you and not for everybody else around you. Not the what if people see this or what if people see that. That's okay. Fuck them. You gotta be you because everybody else is taken. I've heard that quote, I think it was like, I want to say middle school, high school. At the time, I don't know if they watching this because I be cussing y'all now, but a version of myself, so what is it, in high school, I believe, my youth pastor at the time had wrote this notebook. He had wrote this notebook. He gave us a notebook, everybody, him, his wife, and he had like little quotes in there in the notebooks for us. And in mine, it said, be yourself, everyone else is taken. And I don't know what it is, but that was like in that moment of me reading every word of that, it was ingrained and impressed in my heart. I didn't know why. God did. Okay, but no, he did though. He knew though, for real, that I needed to be. I didn't know then, but that was a huge key that was within me, right? But that was a huge key of my becoming and who I am becoming now. It's just being myself. No matter the environment around me, no matter what's going on, it's just about being myself. They over here slapping each other, Lord. Oh, shoot. Where'd that go? It went straight. I'm cooling. Damn. Even my bad shots, that joint was the best one I hit. I'm telling you, yo. So long I thought that I was grieving wasted time and wasted years. But I realized that I wasn't grieving time. I was really grieving the versions of myself that didn't get a chance to become. Like the artist, the famous poet, the creator, the speaker, and the joyful kid. Not worried about dying in an abyss of fire, but actually a kid that's actually on the playground playing golf. Or playing, no, I'm tripping. I'm sure I wasn't even playing golf. Just playing with my friends, playing basketball, doing whatever I wanted to do. And actually being a kid in the moment, joyful and uninterrupted to, no, don't be this anymore. Don't do this. That's too loud. You gotta fit into this. Not being that version of myself, but actually being a joyful child again. And I'll say, I wanted to be a unicorn, but, ooh, I called my phone, y'all. But even though those portions of me were buried over time, it doesn't mean it's gone. Buried doesn't mean gone. You can literally dig it out the ground. Yeah, it might have a little bit of life left, But that's why you got to dig it out the ground in order to give it life and refuel it with the passion and the purpose that you knew you had within you, but you needed to find again. So I wrote a poem, and it's called Becoming is Beneath Me. So I hope y'all enjoy it, and I hope y'all have a super fantastic day, and I hope this touches you like it touched my heart in order on, like, for your journey of becoming who you want to be and you're destined to be, if you start to look at the pieces in which were buried beneath. So, becoming is beneath me right now.
What is that rattling underneath my feet? Could it be becoming that is underneath me? I am on override. The lies that hide the dirt continues to drive, covered up by the disguise that becoming is now underneath me. I held the dirt, I tore my shirt, trying to create a tunnel for me to become free. I lifted up, though I was stuck, and I declared that eventually I am destined to be free. Fear will no longer have a hold on me and say no more that becoming is underneath me. Maybe I dig deep trying to find it, but I know becoming is no longer beneath me.
Where do you want to be on the golf course in order to reach the flow state that you want to? You have to be present in the moment in order to be in a flow that exemplifies the love that you actually want within and outside of yourself, to see the beauty again, not just in your golf game, but in life. So, if you are looking to swing into alignment again, and this isn't just for golf, right? But if this is something that you really want, I help people who are like trying to get into the PGA of America, pass their PAT test and all of that. I help people that are just regular golfers too, to literally just be in alignment within themselves in order for them to see the manifestations of things outside of themselves. So, if that's something that you want for your game, if that's something that you want for your life in order for it to be deeply transformed, hit me up. I literally just helped somebody go from shooting, I think she was like high 90s. Yeah, she was like in the high 90s. And she just passed her PAT, 78, 77. That's crazy. For y'all who don't know what a PAT is a player abilities test. And in order for you to get into the PGA of America, like to start the program, you have to pass this test. And you have to play really good, right? And it's 36 holes back to back. But I literally helped her get to where she wanted to be this week. So, and I mean, yes, it was a process of working with her, but it wasn't that long either. But it depends on the person. So, yeah, like, and also, if you're new to golf and you actually are like, dang, like, whatever she talking about, cool. I don't understand all the technical terms and shit, but she seemed cool and I want to, connect and learn golf or whatever, like just watch my journey and stuff like that. Then, for you, I got We Tee Up Golf School. So, everything is in We Tee Up Golf School, from the mental side of golf, from the beginner side of golf. Literally, you can start from day one learning how to hit a golf ball to being at these high levels like everybody else, depending on what your goals are. So if that's something you want to do too, go ahead and either, if you're on YouTube right now, go ahead and click the in the description box below and just click the link that says We Tee Up Golf School, and it should be having the stuff right there. And you go ahead and join that joint. It's free. Like, it's free right now. So if that's something you want, start your journey. And I hope y'all have a super fantabulous day. Thanks for watching Beyond the Swing this week. And if y'all got any questions, hit me up. Love y'all. Bye.